that are beating him or whatever. But anyway, the point is I never had a thought like that I would be a professional surfer. But then, it started moving forward, and around that time, things started to change. So you can there was a little opportunity, I say, like in the early 2000s. It seemed like for me, I'm mid 20s or so, and I started getting better, like more legit sponsors and like little minor like photo incentive contracts and things. And I feel like if another 2 years of that, then maybe like I mean, there's different kind of pro level guys and this and that, but yeah, I mean, it could have went there on some level, maybe a little tiny moment, but I started doing music. Same time, the surfing started popping off for me again. I got on Zoo. I was on Zoo, and then Jack Meyer got me hooked up with Dragon, and that was like official where I had a contract.
Wow.
I was getting awards. I was getting a nice, hookup to O'Neill. So things were kind of going that way. And then I was doing a band, and the band started doing well, relatively speaking. We got a record deal, and surfing kind of took a back seat for a while I was doing that band and playing a lot and touring and things like that.
What year was that around? What year was that around?
The band started in 2002, and then like 2003, 2004, 2005, like the band was like life. We were really doing that, and a lot of focus was put into the band, and even kind of like battling on. I'd worked in the industry. I was a buyer for blades in the city.
At the height of blades, it feels like, like you were riding the real like crest there of blades that time period.
Yeah, I will say that, this is one horn I'll toot, but a lot of money Blades made was thanks to me. I'll definitely say that. A lot of those other buyers, they had me helping them too, ghosting for them. But whatever, that was another life. But, there was a lot of opportunity for me to jump and to go to a bigger company at the time. And Element was definitely one at the time. That the sales manager at that moment in time was really he wanted me to come out there. But I feel like when I transitioned from being the buyer of blades, doing more of the music, I kind of just remember at the time, I was still young. I mean, I wasn't that young, but I was like 26 and I was like, I don't want to sell other people's things. I'm tired of doing that. I want to sell my own thing. It was kind of like my mentality. Not that I was selling a thing, but I'd grown up loving all these skateboarders, and to me, buying was fun. It was exciting, and it was a way to support brands and companies and creative people that I believed in. Because it got to the point with doing the buying where I didn't really have to submit to just what was popular.
Yeah.
We got to the level of where we were tastemakers. So I could say, well, I don't need so-and-so to tell me that, this year, Fresh Giants collection's dope, although they've been whacked for the last 8. I know this is dope. So let's get it. Are you sure? Yeah. Well, I'm good. Boom. Let's get it. Okay, we got it. Oh, we're crushing Fresh Giants. Who knew? We thought
get drunk with power. Get drunk with power there, huh?
I mean,
I am the tastemaker. I don't need you.
Totally. And that's the sad thing. I was young, and definitely there was a little bit of that ego that you don't appreciate. That what a cool, really like job that was, and I was so young, and I kind of fell into it, and it just kind of grew on its own through a few like ideas I had, and then it's like a few years down the line, I'm the buyer. We got 30 stores, and I'm doing this and that. It was a fun time. It was a good time, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, that's all I can really say. I had a lot of fun. A lot of cool people.
were you living in the city, like Brooklyn or Manhattan at that time, or were you commuting in, or what?
I was commuting.
Wow.
I was, with people. I had a lot of coworkers that worked and lived in the city or worked in Rockaway. But even though, and I loved the city, I told them, I was like, when they wanted me to go there, I said, I need a 4-day work week. I want to work 5. I want a 4-day work week, and I want a rotating day off whenever I want, so it could follow the surf. And they gave it to me, except I couldn't take Monday. Couldn't take Mondays off because I had to be there Monday to go through the reports and all these different things that I had to do. But I had it so good, and I had no idea. Because I had no other. I had no other experience. That was my experience. I just thought, yeah, this is how it goes. You just
that's awesome. And you're getting hooked up with gear all the time too, from all the companies, all the reps and everything, like, I imagine you were flown on trips as well. There was money in the industry then. And like, I remember like you were just, like pretty nice.
Yeah, it was I remember there was money. There was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're talking pre 9/11, and the money was just, it was flowing.
Quick went public. Billabong went public, and around that time period, all that sort of stuff. Like there was, the economy was booming. Fuck, the internet just started. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It just seemed like for like 3 years, it was like the open to buy was like, it felt like my last year there. I basically could have just, and then not really like, because, it was just, the whole thing was doing so well. The industry was doing so well. New York was popping. All these things were happening.
New York was on the ascent, It was like coming out of like a rough period. Like, so you're watching all this change and exciting things happening, and everything wasn't built up. Like, so cool. Like, what a cool time to be working there.
Yeah, it was. It's so different. Like, I still love the city, but it's such a different vibe, and everything's different because I have different like city experiences. I have my skateboard and buyer days, and then like being near Soho and that. But then I had my earlier days when I lived in the Hare Krishna temple in Brooklyn.
I wanted to get to this. This was fascinating. That's like why I said kind of alchemist kind of story like that, because you left surfing in some ways, to pursue this goal. And sometimes you have to go on these journeys to come back. And so that's why, like, when I read that, I just saw that arc. It was really interesting.
I was young. That's almost like going a little back.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did that come about?
I think I always had some sort of questioning sort of element to myself, and like, this will sound really corny, but guys, our age, you mentioned the hero's journey, so I'm assuming you're in my range. I grew, like I said, with Star Wars and Bruce Lee, and those things really impacted me on some level, as goofy as that can sound. But
absolutely
sort of
same.
Yeah, to be a better person and to search out truth and meaning for myself. Honestly, those movies in that era sort of instilled that in me. And then I was involved in the hardcore scene, and that's where I was introduced to the Hare Krishna philosophy through Shelter, which was Ray Cappo. He had done Youth of Today, which was like the biggest straight band of the time, and being into skateboarding, it was like that went hand in hand. I got a subscription to Thrasher. I got the Youth of Today album. One year it was that, the next year it was Underdog, whatever it was at the time. But that was our music, the hardcore music, especially straight edge stuff. And then he had transferred and did Shelter, which was like more, like what kids now would call like emo, or like more of a a different vibe, a little bit more melodic, and although still aggressive, just had a different feel. And just what was in that album, the art of it and the layout and what was being said, really, I guess at the time, like kind of touched, a nerve or something in me, and it led me to sort of be interested. Like, what is this exactly? What's happening? And, I got some books at different bookstores and things like that, some Buddhist texts and other things, but kind of just doing my own thing. And then I linked up with two other dudes that were into the hardcore music and skateboarding. And the one guy who's still, these guys are still friends of mine. He was already going to the temple. He was 2 years older, so he drove. I was 15, he was 17. He was already going up to Brooklyn Temple. Yeah. So it was like one Wednesday. Yo, let me come with you guys. And I went to the temple, and it was like a profound experience for me. Something exotic. Like compared to anything I experienced growing up in the suburbs by the beach. My town was a small town, and I'm in the city, and everything is this temple. Smells amazing, the incense, the food, the artwork, the deities, the way people are dressed, the chanting, everything was just like, whoa, like, and just a sense of sort of peace too, which I guess, ultimately was what I was looking for, some sort of peace that I wasn't feeling, so that was the impetus, I think, for those things. I was inspired by the hardcore music, and then going there and experiencing it firsthand, I was really inspired. And then I just wanted to sort of know more, and I was going every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Sunday. And then I graduated, and I was staying at the farm. They have it's in Port Royal, Pennsylvania. It's called Gita Nagri. It's a cow protection farm. But I was staying there for a bit, and then I was at the Brooklyn Temple, and kind of like bouncing back and forth and sort of in and out as well. But during that period, right before that, I just got hooked up with natural art, which is a big deal back then.
Yeah.
91. Because, everyone that was on natural art was like legit,
yes,
for that time.
Of course, man. Yeah, like Shane Horan rode natural arts. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I got a couple pro shapes. Shane Horan designed, he designed them. Ricky Carroll was shaping them, I think, at that time. But
I
had a couple early on with the dimple bottom.
Yeah. You had the golf ball dimple bottom? No way. Yeah. Dude, I mean, I love that. I want to see them. I want to see that on surfboards today. Just like smaller though. Like, oh my God, like such a. Did you feel the lift? Did it work?
I mean, in my mind back then, I felt something. On floaters, I was a Rocky just floater forever on this board. It probably really was another extra inch or two, but in my mind, I was doing a 10-foot float. It was like a frontside grind or something I thought I was doing. But yeah, the dimple bottom board. But so I was, natural art, and then I was on flow from Dogtown.
Oh wow!
Things were happening, and then I bagged all that, and then I was at the temple.
So how old were you around this age? Like 17, 18 roughly?
17, it's the summer of 92, so I'm 17.
How were your parents responding to it? Were they supportive or?
They weren't psyched, because I was young and really sort of even misinformed. Like, I was so young that I couldn't even really kind of process a lot of the stuff I was taking in. And so I was very like, it was my rebellious phase, and I was, trying to like, I guess like establish myself as an autonomous, person, and I'd always looked up to my father, and maybe even some way felt like I, he cast a big shadow, or whatever with his martial arts and all these things, and I wanted to go on my own path or my own, journey. And 17, And I feel like, even though I was doing other things in that time, surfing from like 9